Okay, Mr. Stewart here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create the two assembly drawings that you're going to make. Now I'm going to assume that you know how to do a couple of these steps in here. The first one being the bill of materials table. You have to set this up with all the parts that are in your assembly. Notice I don't have any blank columns in here. You want to get rid of all the blank columns. So that's the first thing that you probably want to set up, and that is just on your regular assembly that is down here. Now, excuse me, I'm going to go to the little plus sign here, and I'm going to say create a drawing, and depends on where this is, but you're going to look for the start point tbb.dwt file. You should be able to find it in my Onshape. You will have inserted this and the tba-2.dwt in a prior step. So I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to say the word OK. That's going to take a couple seconds for it to come up. Now, here in the insert box, I'm going to click on assembly, and I'm going to click on the bank, and you will click on whatever your assembly is, of course. Excuse me. And I'm going to change the scale here. This is way too small, so I'm going to change the scale here to 1 to 1. Well, that's too big. 1 to 1.5. Let's see how this comes out. That's going to be better. So I changed my scale. Your scale will depend on whatever you put in, okay? Now, I am also going to do this. I'm going to double click on this just to reactivate it. And I'm going to change the rotation angle here from 0 to 60 degrees. And my view orientation, I'm going to set to isometric. And it's pointing off to the left. I just matter of preference, and it doesn't matter which way you want to do this. I want to switch the direction of mine, so I just hit that little arrow there, and I can hit the green check mark right now. So right now I've got my assembly drawing into the title block B. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now put my parts list onto this drawing. So I'm going to go to where it says BOM table, and right now the table is hooked to my upper right corner of my table. I actually want to put this down here in this lower right corner. So what I'm going to do is down here you'll see select fixed corner. I'm going to choose the one in the lower right, and then I'm going to come and choose that corner, and I get my bill of materials. Next thing, bubbles. So I'm going to start doing the bubbling for this. So I'm going to click on this first part here, and then I'll go to another one of them. You can see the numbers are coming up. They correspond to the numbers down there. And then I'll click on this band down here. Whoops. Now something's not right there. I don't know what's going on. I'll delete that one. And I'll delete that one. Go back to my bubbles. All right, I'm going to pause and come back to you in a couple seconds. Okay, so I'm going to get back to this now, and I'm not sure exactly why it stopped working for me there, but whatever. So I'm going to put these numbers back on here, number 2, and then the body, and then I'm just going to click on the edge of this band up here, and that gives me my number 3. Then I can green check mark, and I've got my bubbles all on here. So that is going to be the parts and the bubbles in the parts list. Now, down here under part name, I'm going to just double click in this box, and I'm going to leave part name there, and I'm going to call this crayon bank. And this should all be in caps, by the way. Not to mention I spelled it wrong. So caps lock is on. Bank assembly. The project name itself is reverse engineering. Okay. And now I'm going to double click, and there is my completed assembly drawing for my parts. Now, I have to also do what's called the exploded assembly drawing. And prepare myself for that. I'm actually going to go back to my crayon bank assembly. I'm going to come over here to the right hand side of the screen, and I'm going to get those 3 icons. The very lowest one, I'm going to click on that, and that says exploded view. Now, what I want to do here is I'm actually going to rotate the whole entire assembly, and I'm going to click on this. Each one of these little clicks goes 15 degrees. So I'm going to rotate it like 60 degrees, get it tipped off to the side, and then I should be able to double click on where it says explode 1, and I'm going to have this little orange box up here, and that's what you want, because that tells me that I'm actually editing the explode. So double click on explode 1, and you'll get this orange box. Now you're going to start to pull these parts out. So I'm going to click on it. Whoops. And then I'm going to get this little triad thing, and this has different axes. If you put your cursor on this arrow, it moves in this direction. So that's good. And you can specify a distance. I'm going to put in 6 inches here for my distance, and green check mark. Whoops, something happened there. All right, so there we go. So green check mark. All right, now the next thing is I'm going to pull this band off here. So again, it's the same thing. I can click on that arrowhead and just move these out. And I'll change my distance to 3.5. It doesn't like 3.5. Oh, there's 2 decimals there. That's why. All right. And you don't want to get these too far stretched apart, because they won't fit on the paper, or they'll make your views very small later. And then I'm going to click on the next one. I'm going to come down here to this other band, and I'm going to move this. And you'll notice that this comes in as a negative value. So I'm going to put in a -4 for this one, and green check mark. So now I've got my assembly exploded. I'm just going to select none, and it goes back to the normal view. If I want to see it again, I can just double click where it says explode 1 and say done. I can also change it if I want to. You can move it in any of the directions that these arrows are pointing. And then the little circle with the lines, that's if you want to rotate it, okay? All right, so done. Now I can close this back up. And I'm going to go back to my drawing 1 here. By the way, I'm going to change the name of this. I'm going to right click on this and rename. And I'm going to change the name of this assembly drawings. Oh, shucks, I forgot the uppercase again. Okay, so I've renamed that assembly drawings. So this is one of the two assembly drawings that I need to make. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a sheet to this assembly drawings file. So I'm going to click on this little icon on the left here that looks like a bunch of pages stacked up, and I am going to go up to the upper right hand corner here and select Insert Sheet. So that brings in a new sheet for my drawing. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'll go back to Insert, and my view orientation I'm going to make isometric. And then it says explode position. I'm going to change that to explode 1 because that's what the explode is that we just did. And my view scale, let's make it 1 to 1.5 again. All right, and I'll hit enter. And I'm going to click right there. Now I'm going to double click on this, and it's isometric and explode 1, but that didn't come out the way I expected it to. My rotation angle I'm going to change to 60. I'm going to flip it that direction there, and green check mark. Now why didn't that come out the way I expected it to? I want to go back to my crayon bank assembly. I wonder if I forgot to save something here. Nope. Huh, what did I forget? Double click in this. All right, pause again. Okay, I'm not sure exactly why this didn't do the exploded view correctly, but we're going to just redo it. So I do have this little orange update up here, so I'm going to click on that. That might make a difference. And then I'm going to go to my insert view, crayon bag front, explode position. We'll do this in a couple steps this time. And I'm going to hit explode 1. Now you see it is exploded, definitely. That's good. My view orientation, I'm going to change to isometric. Okay. And I'm just going to put this down here. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to double click in here again, and my rotation, I'm going to change that rotation to 60 degrees. I'm going to flip it the opposite direction and green check mark that. And now there it is, exploded. Now I got one more thing I need. Well, I need to do this drawing part here anyways. And that is, oops, I'm going to right click on the view, and I'm going to say show shaded view. And that'll take a second. And it's going to come up with the colors that I put on the parts and even on the individual parts that I put into the assembly. So that's good. Now down here in the project name or part name, I'm going to put in the word exploded view. Well, assembly view. And project name is going to be crayon or engineering or reverse engineering. There we go. And that. And then I'll double click to get my view back to the middle. All right. That's how you create the exploded view and the regular assembly. And this is a page that we're going to print in color in the LMC.